Hello, beloveds. Today marks 1 year that Ed and I knew that this was our home. It was downstairs there in the grassy field at the picnic when we were eating our hamburgers and hot dogs and all the other goodies that were provided by this lovely congregation. And we were sitting there in the middle of the grassy area, and there was all this wonderful activity happening around us. All the children were playing, and the adults were engaged in wonderful conversations, and it was really, truly apparent that, what we say, love lives here, that was actually true. That it was a powerful moment to just sit there with all the activity going on around us, and to be present with one another, and to be present with all the activity going around us, and feel 100% completely at home. I had fallen in love with this community prior to that, as you well know, but it was in that moment that I knew that this was home. And so today is a very special day for me and for Ed in that journey to being present with all of you, and that journey to being here. So thank you for opening your hearts and opening your gorgeous building and opening your gorgeous city to us, but most importantly, opening your hearts to us. So thank you for that, and thank you for welcoming us home. This year, we are working with the theme here, Spirituality in Action. That is the theme for all Centers for Spiritual Living worldwide. That is the theme that we are working with. It's the prime directive. It's the theme that we're working with. And this month, the theme has been care for the poor and compassion. And last week, we talked about who are the poor, and we established that the metaphysical interpretation, the way we look at who are the poor, when we talk about the poor in spirit, what that really means is that we are so self-emptied, self with a small s, self-emptied, that creates the vacuum for the self with a capital S to hold sway, to come forth, to live and express in, through, and as each one of us. And that it is that capital self, it is that allows us to dwell in the kingdom of heaven currently, right here and right now. That what we know in this faith and philosophy is that the kingdom of heaven is not some future, far off, next lifetime experience, but the kingdom of heaven is experienced right here and right now by right of consciousness, by right of dominion over our own lives, by the very fact that each one of us lives, moves, and breathes, and has our being in, through, and as the divine made manifest, that it is the divine life that is living each one of us. And what we are called is we're called to remember that truth. We are called to remember the who of who we are. That our life is the life of the divine life. That we are one with that divinity. That there is no separation. There is no otherness. There is no somebody outside of us. There is no deity outside of us. That it is all that there is. It is outside, inside, above, beyond, below, around, through, as. Because there is only one life, and it is all that there is. Yes? Okay. And when we live in that conscious awareness, when we live in that awareness of who we truly are, then what we really experience then, when we're living in that awareness, is we experience inner peace. And that's the topic of today. Inner peace. Inner peace is not necessarily something that we go out there and we search for. Inner peace, like everything, is already existing within us. It's just a matter of us getting our own small, bloated nothingnesses out of the way to allow the inner peace to flow through us. Yes? Right? Same thing with abundance, same thing with love, same thing with prosperity, same thing with joy, that it's already existing. It already exists within us. our life experiences perhaps have piled other gunk on, right? But what our beloved Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith teaches us is that 100% of spiritual growth is in the letting go, is in the releasing. And so it's a matter of releasing the stuff, releasing the old ideas, the false beliefs, the less thans, the I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, releasing the worries, the doubts, the fears, and letting them simply go to then reveal the truth of who we are. And the truth of who we are is love, is peace, is abundance, is joy, is harmony. Yes? And how many of you think that's easy? It's easy to say, right? Easy to say. But it takes that dreaded 4-letter word, practice. I know it's more than 4 letters, but for some of us it feels like a 4-letter word, right? Practice. Practice, 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 right? Because what we know is that peace cannot operate in the same space as fear. Peace cannot operate in the same space as doubt. Peace cannot operate in the same place as lack. Right? Those things try to push peace out of the way. Peace actually is always operating. It's just that other stuff has gotten piled on. Right? And so if we're in a place of fear, we're in a place of doubt, we're in a place of lack, what are we doing with peace? Are we experiencing peace? No, it's getting kind of, peace is like, get thee behind me. Right? But that's not what we want, to get thee behind me, right? So the two can't really coexist, right? It's hard for the two to coexist when our minds and our ideas and our beliefs are focused on that which we don't have, or they're focused on worry, they're focused on doubt, they're focused on fear. It's extremely difficult to experience peace. We can catch glimpses of it, we can catch moments of it, but it's difficult to experience it for any given length of time. And so what does that take? It takes practice. It takes leaning into and allowing these other things to fall away. And so what kind of spiritual practices do we encourage here? We encourage affirmative prayer. When we look at affirmative prayer, we're praying what? Affirmatively, right? So we're not praying for what we don't want. We are placing our intention and attention on the beauty and on the love and on the harmony. We are refocusing our minds. We are retraining our minds, resetting our systems, if you will, back to a higher idea, a truer sense of self with a capital S. We're bringing our minds back to the place of love, back to the place of peace, back to that which we wish to experience in the world, rather than focusing on what we don't wish to experience. We bring our minds and our attention on that which we do wish to experience, and we continue to affirm that which we do experience, or that which we wish to experience. That which we know is already true. We've just covered it up. And we do this again and again and again and again. And we reaffirm and we reaffirm and we reaffirm and we reaffirm. We plant the seeds of positivity, if you will, rather than continuing to feed the negativity. The idea is to plant the seeds of positivity and to keep planting those seeds and keep planting those seeds and keep planting those seeds and keep watering it and keep nurturing it and keep focusing our attention on it and keep focusing there. And as we begin to do so, what we then begin to see is we begin to see a shift in our consciousness. Because a prayer, an affirmative prayer, a spiritual mind treatment is a movement in consciousness. Let me say that again. A spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer is a movement in consciousness. It shifts our consciousness. And as we're continuing to work with the law that we know is the law of cause and effect, it's the law of love, it's the law of the divine, it's the law of creation, that which we plant, tended and nurtured and watered, grows into that which we wish to receive, grows into that which we wish to experience. So you can see, based on your life, what you may have been planting in belief, what it is that you've been believing, what it is that you've been expecting. And you see it outpicturing, you see it demonstrating, you see it manifesting, you see it expressing in your life. How's that working for you? Good. Others, maybe we could do, maybe I like something to look a little bit different, right? Which is cool. Because it's all wherever we are at, right? And so if it's working really well, awesome, continue to work it, continue to practice it. And if it's not working so well yet, continue to practice it, continue to practice it. Because what happens here is that we begin to build faith. The more we do it, the more we engage in our spiritual practices, then the more that they begin to demonstrate, the more positive affirmation, the more positive results that you get from your practice, correct? So think of it this way. When you go into your house and you flip a light switch, what do you expect? You expect the light to come on, right? You don't doubt that the light's going to come on. Unless, of course, your spouse didn't pay the electric bill, then it might be like, I don't know, right? But you don't doubt that the light's going to come on. You just flip the switch and the light comes on. And what happens if the light doesn't come on when you flip the switch? You're surprised, right? You're surprised. Like, why didn't the light come on, right? And then what do you think about it? You think, oh, maybe the light bulb's burnt out. Okay, let me go change the light bulb. Let me fix the light bulb. Or you think, well, I changed the light bulb's still not working. Well, what else could be the problem? Oh, I know, breaker must have popped. All right, so I'll go over here and flip the breaker and bada, light, right? Assuming, of course, you've paid your electric bill. And if all that fails, right, then it's like, oh, the other houses are dark too right now. We must just be having a power outage. And so then we'll just wait for the lights to come back on. We'll wait for the electricity to start flowing again, right? But you never like walk into the room and go, I wonder, is it going to come on? Is it not going to come on? What does this little switch do? Right? You never question it. You just go, boop, flip, and on it comes. So the faith that we are building to through our spiritual practice is the faith and the knowing and the expectation that when we pray, or that when we enter into meditation, when we enter into spiritual practice, that when we make a demand upon the universe, that it responds like that all the time. There's no question. We simply trust and we know. And when we trust and we know at that deep level, just like flipping on a light switch, what is there to worry about? You don't worry about the light, right? You don't worry that it's going to come on or not. When you think about gravity, you don't worry if, like, I'm going to float off into space, right? If I jump from the stage, I'm just going to, like, float, right? You know that if I, like, jump off the stage, I'm going to go face plant on the ground, right? We don't worry about it. We don't think about it. We don't even give it a second thought. So why then do we question the spiritual law? Why then do we question our own ability to work within the spiritual law of cause and effect? Why do we question ourselves? Why do we think that somehow some capricious, magical creature is going to withhold something from us? Why do we think that? What's wrong with our thinking? It's a spiritual law. It always provides. It always gives. It always does what it does. Whatever I plant into the law, whatever I plant into the soil, it's going to grow. Right? Whatever idea I place into it is going to grow. I trust it. The farmers trust that when they plant corn, they're going to get corn. You know, the home gardener trusts when she plants a tomato seed, she's going to get a tomato plant. She's going to get to enjoy tomatoes during the summer. Like little tomato sandwiches, grilled perhaps under the broiler, you know, right? That you're going to get to enjoy these things. There's just an expectation. There's an expectancy, right? And yet sometimes when it comes to our own lives, it's just like, oh, I don't know if I can make the bills. Oh, I don't know if I can have that relationship. Oh, I don't know if... He does. You know, oh, I don't know if I can get that new job. I don't know if I'm worthy enough. I don't know. All of a sudden there's the self-doubt, right? When the self-doubt enters, what's happened is we've forgotten how the law works, one, and we've also forgotten who we are. I am not my doubt. I am not my fear. I am not my lack. I am not my limitation. I am not any of those things. Those are false beliefs that I have created and made up about myself and about my life. Who I am is the divine made manifest. Who I am is the power and the presence of love. Who I am is the power and the presence of peace. That's who I am. I am abundance made manifest. So why am I worrying? Time and time again, the universe, spirit, God, whatever you choose to call it, has demonstrated in my life that I always have enough. I always have enough. So why am I thinking that I don't? It's an old BS, old belief system, right? It's just old BS, old belief system. So I have the opportunity to bring myself back into alignment. I have my opportunity to bring myself back into remembering, right. I am peace. Not that I have peace. Not that peace exists in my life or that I'm trying to achieve peace. That's not a goal. I am peace. I am love. I am abundance. When I return to the who of who I am, when I focus my attention back there, then what I experience is I experience the peace that passes all understanding. I experience that deep inner peace, that deep inner calm, that deep poise, that deep equanimity. That peace that remains undisturbed, regardless of what's going on around me. And how can I know this? How can I practice this? I can practice by being present in the moment. Because in the now, which is all that there ever is the eternal now. You live your life now. We live and have our being now. We don't live in the past. We don't live in the future. The only moment that ever is now. But yet we have a tendency to think back into our past and focus there, maybe with regret or sorrow or blame or shame or what have you. We have a tendency to think back that way or reminisce for days gone by. Life was so much better when, right? And we have a tendency to focus our attention back there. Or we focus our attention out there. We focus our attention into the future. We project into the future and we worry about what's going to happen. We worry, we create that like, oh my gosh, I don't know, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. And we begin to worry and create stress for ourselves by living out into the future. But what I'd like for you to do in this moment is just be here now. Be in this now present moment. Feel the chair supporting you. Feel your body. Feel your breath in and out. Look at the tree behind me. appreciate its beauty, but just feel this present moment, this very second, and notice its perfection. There's nothing wrong in this moment. In fact, everything is absolutely perfect in this moment. Pure bliss exists in this moment. This moment. This moment. And feel that peace that is present in this moment. This moment. This moment. If you're feeling anything other than calm and peace in this moment, your brain has either jumped ahead or jumped behind. Bring it back to this moment. This moment. And hear the silence. Hear the fan behind me and listen beneath the hum of the fan. Perfection, wholeness, and peace. This moment. This moment, this moment. And breathe in and out. Even the birds stop singing in that moment. Notice the peace that's here present in the room in this moment. With each of us just focusing on the now moment. You feel the presence here? Feel the peace? There's a song that Donna Michaels sings is, perfect peace comes to me. All is as it should be. I release, I let go, and I know perfect peace. There's also a song that we frequently sing here at the end of service, let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. So on this Memorial Day, as we remember those who gave the ultimate sacrifice or made the ultimate sacrifice and gave their lives in service to the United States, let us be that power and that presence of peace so that no one else must do the same. And how do we begin to do that? We begin by starting with peace right here, recognizing that peace exists already within us, that each one of us has the opportunity to be present in the now moment and to be the presence of peace in the now moment. And practice that on a regular basis. Practice it on a daily basis. Practice it on a moment-by-moment basis. Practice it when you've got chaos going on around you at Costco. Right? Costco is a challenge sometimes, right? So, practice when, chaos is going on around you at Costco. Practice when you're standing in line and there's a crying baby in front of you and an angry person behind you and you're standing in line at the grocery store. Practice being that presence of peace. Practice being in the now moment and recognizing the perfection of the now moment, and then watch, just like what happened in here, watch the entire area around you, all the people around you shift. Watch it and observe the shift in consciousness or the shift in experience around you as you stand in your power, as you stand in the peace that you are. And in that, we are being, let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let it start right here with me. Let it start right here with who I am, where I am. Let me experience peace, and then let me be that power and the presence of peace that ripples out from me. So this is your invitation this day, that you have the opportunity to practice peace within. You have the opportunity to practice peace in your immediate surroundings. And as you do so, it continues to ripple out. Peace in our city, peace in our state, peace in our country, peace around the world. And it begins with the inner peace of remembering who you are and remembering that there is only now. And so it is. So I invite our beloved practitioners to please stand and surround the sanctuary. I also invite our beloved core council members to join them as they circle the sanctuary. Each of these beloveds is holding this congregation high in prayer and in love. Perfect timing, Darlene, to stand around the sanctuary. To hold this community and this city and each one of you high in love, high in light. Each one is praying on a daily basis for this community. And so let's just all come together in consciousness, shall we? I recognize right here and right now that there simply is one. It is the peace that passes all understanding. In the beginning was the one and only the one, and from itself, through itself, as itself, it brought forth all of creation. And it did so in harmony, in balance, in order, as peace, as love, as joy. For truly there is just this one life, and there is nothing that could disturb it. There is nothing that could disturb this peace that is back of all life, back of all of creation, this stillness, this equanimity, this balance, this perfect poise. And as I recognize that this is all that there is, and that I then must be one with that there is nothing else for me to be created from other than the love that is, other than the peace that is, other than the balance and the wholeness and the harmony that already is. For truly there is only this one life, and my life is just merely an impartation and emanation of the same life. So I know that all that is true of the divine life is true of my life because I am one with the divine. The who of who I am is the divine made manifest here and now. And as I know that this is true of me, I know that this is true of all of life, of all of creation, of everyone present here this day. And so I speak my word here and now, recognizing that it is the peace that passes all understanding that is right where we are. That it exists in the eternal now, it exists in the eternal moment. The ever-present, the omnipresence that is the divine. In which we live, move, breathe, and have our being. There is no past, there is no future, there simply is the now. And I breathe into this knowing. I breathe into this and I allow it to breathe me, and in fact I am breathed by it. I simply allow any thoughts or ideas of separation, of otherness, of lack, of limitation, of fear, of doubt, of worry to simply fall back into the nothingness from which they came. For truly there is no power to maintain or sustain them. There is only the power in the presence of love. There's only the power in the presence of peace. And I know that it is this peace that comes forth now. It is this peace that exists always. And it is this peace that's revealed in the hearts and the minds of all of our beloveds here today. And so I simply give thanks that we are the peace we wish to experience in the world. We do allow the peace to flow through us easily and effortlessly. That we go forth from this place in peace and as peace. Peace, be still and know that I am. Peace, be still and know. Peace, be still. Peace, be. Peace. And so I release this word into the law, knowing that it is fulfilled, trusting, just like the light switch, that it is already done. I let it be so, and so it is.